Roll call.
Mayor Connie Ball,
Here.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit,
Here.
Alderman Jeff Fancher,
Here.
Alderman Roger Gribble,
Here.
Alderman Mike Hansel,
Here.
Alderman Bobby Knight,
Here.
City Attorney Terry Hurst,
Here.
City Administrator James Fincham.
Here.
Thank you, Tina. Next item is the approval of the minutes from the April the 11th, 2017 meeting. You have those. Had a chance to look at them. Do we have a motion to approve as written?
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Item 4 is proclamations. Alderman Mike Hansel.
Let me give him a big swig of water. I've got
Yeah, you better.
I'd like to ask Chief Schultz and his staff to join me up here, please. If you'll recall, last month we want to keep on recognizing our public safety officials when their months come up. And for May 14th through the 20th, 2017, that is considered National Police Week. And to recognize National Police Week 2017 and to honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty while protecting our community and safeguarding our democracy. Whereas Congress and President of the United States of America have designated May 15th as Peace Officer Memorial Day and the week in which it falls as Police Week. And whereas members of the Newport Police Department play an essential role in the safeguarding of rights and freedoms of the citizens of Newport, and whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our police department recognize their duties to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder. And now, therefore, Mayor Connie Ball calls upon all citizens of Newport, Tennessee to observe the week of May 14th through the 20th, 2017 as National Police Week, in which all of our citizens may join in commemorating police officers past and present who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their community, and in doing so have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. Mayor Ball also calls upon all citizens of Newport, Tennessee to observe May 15th, 2017 as Peace Officers Memorial Day, to honor those peace officers who through their courageous deeds have lost their lives or have become disabled in the performance of their duties. In witness whereof, Mayor Ball has hereto set his hand and affixed the city seal of Newport on the 9th day of May 2017. And I'd like to present this to Chief Schultz.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Can I say something? Mr. Hansel, Mr. Ball, council members, it's an honor to represent these guys. My race is nearly run. I'm an old man now. Flip-flop the police department, oldest one there, been the longest amount of time. This is what we're building for the future. And thank God we've not had to go through the terrible thing that's gone on in our country. But we know that we are blessed to live in a city, live in a state, and live in a country where we can still stand and honor those that sacrifice daily and take a chance on dying each day as they come to work. And we truly appreciate your proclamation. Thank you.
We appreciate the job y'all do.
That's your chief.
She hadn't stayed this full this Morris. Don't let her down there. She's wanting to go home.
dust settles, we'll have the other portion to come up. I'd like to ask Director Lindsay Ellison and staff of the EMS to please come forward. Emergency Medical Services Week is recognized on May 21st to the 27th of 2017 this year. And to designate the week of May 21st through 27th as Emergency Medical Services Week. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of the emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, basically all the time, which is what our police, fire, and everybody else does. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills, and whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now therefore, Mayor Connie Ball calls upon all citizens of Newport, Tennessee to observe the week of May 21st through 27th, 2017 as Emergency Medical Services Week with the theme EMS Strong, Always in Service, in which all of our citizens may join in commemorating our local emergency medical services. In witness thereof, Mayor Ball has hereto set his hand and affixed the seal of the City of Newport, Tennessee on the 9th day of May, 2017.
We just want to say thank you for letting us be part of this, and first call appreciates the opportunity to serve the citizens of Newport.
I know y'all do a good job because you come up to the house about 4 or 5 times a day. I know you're staying busy.
They're looking for him to be laying over in the yard. Over mowed.
Well, the weed eater.
Yeah, well, we need her.
Everything that scares you, you don't.
I know. That's right. Next item, communication from City Administrator James Fincham.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item on my agenda, and I debated on bringing this up just at when we got to the budget, but I thought to go ahead and put it out there now so you'll have time to think about it. The mayor has requested that we add $1,000 to the budget to fund 2 auditorium seats at the renovation up at the high school. And so just to make you aware, so you can be thinking about that before we get to the budget and on whether or not you want to insert that in. Number 2, we are still getting complaints from, or phone calls with people complaining about the city's broadband project, which we all know is an NU project. I think that that's been well addressed and well publicized. I know we've put it on our website and our Facebook page and everything, trying to make people realize that that is not our project, that's an NU project, but the campaign against it, for whatever reason, I guess because that a lot of all the NU properties are in the city of Newport's name, that they think it's the city of Newport. And so the robocalls have been going out and telling folks that we're squandering their money that could be better spent on schools and roads and fire and police and trying to do broadband, and hit button 1 and tell them what you think about it. And when they hit the number 1, it calls here. And then my staff don't know what, don't know what they're talking about. We do now, but at the beginning, we didn't know what it took a while to figure out what it was all about. But it's slowed down tremendously, but it's still happening. We just want to try to keep getting the word out there that if you get that robocall and you punch 1, you call us. You don't leave a message for the utility company. I mean, whether you're for it or against it, whatever your opinion, calling us doesn't affect it one way or the other. It just ties up our staff. The last thing I have, yesterday afternoon, I received a letter from J. Patrick Stapleton, attorney at law, on behalf of the Friends of the Animal Shelter, the Humane Society. Each of you have a copy of that letter in your packet, which I'm not going to read the entire thing into the record, but it basically says that we are put on notice that if no new lease agreement has been reached between the City of Newport and the Friends of the Animal Shelter prior to July 1, 2017, then they expect that we will have completely vacated the premises, leaving all fixtures pursuant to the terms of the lease no later than July 1, 2017. So, just to make you aware of that situation, I have begun immediately yesterday, because that's a short time frame, exploring options on how to deal with this. And we worked on that today too, but just to make you aware. And I think Vice Mayor Prophet had some things he wanted to cover. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mine won't take but just a minute. Mr. Randy Reagan, would you stand up back there, please? This is not rehearsed. He don't know what I'm going to do anyway. So. Now, one reason that I would like to say thank you to Mr. Reagan, if it hadn't been for him yesterday, we could have had a disaster in this town that could have been catastrophic. He just happened to be at the right place at the right time when Newport Hardware it caught on fire the back side of it, and with his quick action and stuff, he saved that probably whole block. Because the fireman said if it had been somebody 5 or 6 minutes later, 10 minutes later, then they couldn't have done anything with that building, because it would have been gone. And I just wanted to tell you, see, y'all do this every day, but it was a special thank you, Ms. Reagan, for what you did yesterday, okay? I was going to take 1 minute. I talked to Tina, our finance person, and she gave me a list of accomplishments that our city council has been going over and been doing. And if anybody, I'm not going to read them all, but there's pages of accomplishments that's fire department, police department, street department, recreation department, that we've got accomplished. If it hadn't been for the citizens, and if it hadn't been for the aldermen and stuff, the city backing this stuff, they said they finally got some stuff to work with now. And also that they're also saving a lot of money by buying stuff that you didn't have to just keep repairing and had nothing at the end for. We've got some things to show for where your money's going. And to my understanding, all of our department heads is equal to last year's budget or under last year's budget. And I appreciate you all working real hard to try to help this budget get passed and get it through. I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you all. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Mike.
I want to talk about the insurance. I want to talk about the insurance. That's right.
Okay. The next item is the Fire Civil Service Board has recommended Kenneth Calfee be appointed to serve. I think he's already in there. I think it's
They've appointed.
It's a reappointment.
Yeah, that's the one they reappointed.
It's just for notice.
Right. Now, they still have to vote to approve that because he gets paid. Okay. Okay, the next item is a report from the Tanner Preservation Alliance.
I just wanted to let you know that we're planning a Kick Stands Up. It's our second annual fundraiser. Will be Saturday, June 24th. All of you guys can come out with your motorcycles and join us there.
How'd y'all do on that last year?
We did really good, surprisingly well.
Okay.
Thank you. One item under old business, consideration of the second reading of ordinance 2017-06. You want to read that, Terry?
Yes, sir. Mayor, I'll read the caption of that ordinance into the record. That's ordinance number 2017-06, an ordinance to amend the zoning map of the city of Newport from R-1 low-density residential to R-2 medium-density residential. And Mayor, we had the public hearing on this last month, but the council decided to put that off till this month for a vote.
Okay,
This would be the second reading.
okay. All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
We need a motion. We need a
Oh, yeah.
motion.
I make a motion, we approve that.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Again, I think this is the fourth time we've come up on this thing. They just tried it one way and it didn't work. They come back again to get a higher density to get these triplexes in. I'm just not in favor of it for that particular area in the city.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
No.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to new business. Item A is consideration of ordinance 2017-07, the budget amendment for the city of Newport.
And Mayor, that's ordinance number 2017-07, an ordinance of amending the annual operating budget and capital program of the city of Newport, Tennessee, fiscal year 2016-2017.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no.
No.
Here's one. Item B is consideration of ordinance 2017-08, the budget amendment for Newport Grammar School.
This will be the first reading. It's ordinance number 2017-08, an ordinance amending the annual operating budget and capital program of the city of Newport, Tennessee, fiscal year 2016-2017 for Newport Grammar School.
Do we have a motion to approve the amendment for Newport Grammar?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no. I hear none. Item C is consideration of ordinance 2017-09, budget for the city of Newport for the fiscal year 2017-18. This is the first reading.
Mayor, that's ordinance number 2017-09, an ordinance of the city of Newport, Tennessee, adopting the annual operating and capital budget for the city of Newport and the annual budget for the Newport Grammar School and tax rate for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2017 and ending June 30th, 2018.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Well, Mayor, if you don't care, first of all, we just need to know, do they want to
Add the
add the
$1,000.
$1,000 for that project?
Okay.
Because that is not currently in there.
That's $1,000 for two of the auditorium seats at Cobb County High School. To have a motion to add that into the budget.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no.
No.
One no.
And then, Mayor, with that amendment, we will reread the ordinance number 2017-09, an ordinance of the city of Newport, Tennessee, adopting the annual operating and capital budget for the city of Newport and the annual budget for the Newport Grammar School and tax rate for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2017 and ending June 30th, 2018.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve now?
Make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second? Got a second? Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
No.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you. Item D is consideration of ordinance 2017-10. Go ahead and read that, Terry.
Yes, Mayor, that's ordinance number 2017-10, an ordinance to amend the City of Newport Municipal Code, Title 4, Municipal Personnel, Chapter 6, Miscellaneous Policies, adding Section 6-616, Nepotism Policy.
And this is the first reading.
First reading, yes, sir.
Do we have a motion to approve on first reading?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
No.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
No.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
No.
Fail 3-2.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
correct?
That's correct.
The next item is under bids, consideration of bids for pool cleaners for parks and recreation.
This is a budgeted line item that we did bid last month, and of course, Tipton Builders was the one that submitted for the commercial pool vacuum cleaners. So we desperately need those vacuums.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Jeff Fancher.
Yes.
Alderman Roger Gribble.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Hansel.
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Tim. Jeff, you had some comments.
I do have some brief comments in regards to the animal shelter. A very emotional subject, obviously. I just want to say that I read the letter sent by the attorney's firm, J. Patrick Stapleton, Sevierville, Tennessee, and we might just have to oblige them. Our lease with the Friends of the Animal Shelter was created under the late Mr. Jim Robinson, a good man. And the lease I read, it was created with the city being the sole stakeholder and contributor in the upkeep and maintenance of the animal shelter. No county input or contributions at all required in there. I'm here representing City of Newport residents, and I'll go with my point. I went to another meeting of the CLB Finance last night, and with a 3-2 vote, they voted not to help with repairs of the animal shelter roof. But Mr. Clay Blazer, seeing what needs to be done, said they were going to take this to a full CLB meeting last night to get a countywide input of all the commissioners. I've heard nothing from Clay or the CLB, but my gut feeling is the answer is it's not going to be a positive one in favor of them, as far as them contributing 1 cent to the roof repairs at the animal shelter. To me, here's where the rubber meets the road. After getting this, and I'll call it a threatening letter by this attorney over in Sevierville, we have one choice. We opt out of the animal shelter business and get into it ourselves. Or number 2, which I think is the smart thing to do and the obvious thing to do, especially the size of Newport and Cott County, is that we sit down with the county representative, the Humane Society / Friends of the Animal Shelter, and the city and form a fair lease. Bottom line. That's the bottom line. There's no way, if we split and started a Newport Animal Shelter and we started a Cott County Animal Shelter, that would make Newport, Cott County the laughingstock of all East Tennessee and the state, especially of the size that we are. You can't tell me, folks, we can't sit down, but it's got to have some type of, last month, 83 new animals sent to the animal shelter. Here's the numbers in black and white. 71% of them are from the county. You do the math on the rest of it, 29% from the city. Why do we have to be, I'm representing the city, why do we have to be well, the county's not going to do it, we'll just throw it back on the city? They told us, they drew a line in the sand. Do you agree? They drew a line in the sand with us, and it's either we cooperate in a fair way between the city, county, and Humane Society, get this thing done the right way and the civil way, or I say we go to the next step. If they want us out, we'll get out. But I'm still standing behind the fact that until we get some fair representation from the county, Cott County government, I'm standing by what we've said that we need to do to make it an even playing field with us in the county.
When 80-some% of your animals come to the county, and they're paying just a very small amount of it. People in the city also pay county taxes too, and there's sort of, they don't like to be in the animal shelter business, so maybe just somebody else needs to step up to play a little bit besides just the city.
Well, it's a known fact that since Dr. Carol Hood passed away, the operations of that facility there's too many chiefs and too many units, not enough chiefs, and that's unfortunate with her passing, but you know that's not the big pimple. The big pimple is starting at the top and seeing who's running that thing, running that facility, and get that thing started all over. To me, it's imploded. We need to start all over at the top and make this thing work. You can't tell me that it can't work. It's working everywhere else, from White Pine to the Tri-Cities. I'm tired of looking at animal shelters, going up there after school to go talk to people about animal shelters. There, to me, has to be an easy way to make this thing work. I don't know if we're making it too hard, but you know, I know most of you folks here representing the animal shelter. How come you're not knocking on the doors over there? And when they do say no, you come back over here. I don't understand that, why we have to be the catch-all. I want this thing to work. Y'all hear me? I want this thing to work. But I don't know, until we get a fair representation across the railroad tracks, I don't see how we're going to make it work. What's fair is fair, exclamation point.
I agree with what Jeff says on, regarding the county should pay their fair share. Now, my problem with this is the city opted out of this contract some months ago. Jeff Fincham gave them notice. And so I don't know, just like the county, we went to the county to get them to help us put a roof on a building that we don't have a contract on, we don't have a lease on, nor do we own. And then we've talked about, James has talked about putting a roof on it, but we still don't have a contract. Now this threatening letter, I don't know how it could be a threat. We've already opted out.
True.
Several months ago, so I don't know what the letter's about other than to say we're going to lock it up if we don't get some type of a lease, because we have no lease with no one now. Jeff, do you agree with that?
I totally agree.
Because it was terminated earlier. So we've been limping along here for months, and the animal shelter's going down, and we're pulling money out of it, and I'm not saying that's wrong, but I'm saying we opted out of the contract first with just, I guess, a little notification. I never did see a letter that went to them.
Well, it's the same thing I told them last night.
We're in a mess now.
I said, look, they said, why we want to put money into a building that we don't own or have any part of.
Right.
But we got to do something, the civil way of handling this. We just can't say, all right, it's closed, dogs, you know, you're on your own.
We've already said that when we pulled out the contract.
Well,
It seems when you already started working on a plan, fix something, take care of the animals from here.
Yes, sir.
well,
How many months, when was it
We've
we
never
pulled
put
out of the
anybody on notice
contract?
to close the animal shelter. And
2
that
months?
is what's been thrown out there.
Much further
We
back.
have never put anybody on notice that we were closing the animal shelter.
no one said
What
that.
we did in this budget was scale back, is what we did in this budget is scale back to one building that we had when we originally took the lease. Buildings have been added since then, which were authorized, no doubt. But it was also the agreement that the rolling rescue monies would offset those costs to operate those buildings. That money has dried up. Certainly, down the road, if the rolling rescue becomes a viable project again, that could be considered to reopen the other building. But I think it's unfair, just as Mr. Fancher says, to expect the city taxpayers to foot the bill where everybody is not meeting their financial obligation. Why should the city taxpayers have to plug in the numbers when when somebody else comes up short, whether it's the Humane Society for the money that they've been raising through the rolling rescue, or whether it's the county, either way, you got two entities that are not sharing their share of the burden. It keeps, when the money comes up short, the city taxpayers have to fund that. We plug that in, and that's what this addresses. We did that last year, and what that had been indicated by you all, the way I understood it, you didn't want to do that. By that I mean the majority. I know you did not agree, sir, but the majority said that's what they wanted to do. That's what we did in the budget.
And what
So
I didn't agree with was
what
opting out of the contract unilaterally. That's what I didn't agree with.
Well, that
And
was
leaving the
voted
thing
on by this
hanging for
board.
months, leaving the thing hanging for months. Now we're coming back and trying to get the county to help us pay for it, and the county to do their share, fair share. I think that's where we should have started, instead of just unilaterally opting out of the contract with the Friends of the Animal Shelter.
Well,
That was my problem.
I'm 0 for 3 going to ask the county for a penny.
That's right. I mean, I don't think you'll get it.
And previous
But,
councils were.
see, we don't have anything now to go with, because we broke the contract, and that's been several months ago.
If I was a member of the Humane Society, I'd want to sit down with the county and city and form a new one.
Well,
But that's me talking. That's the logical thing to do.
I mean, we didn't
to
go
make
to
this
them and
thing
say,
work for all these animals that are out there under those roofs, that roof at the animal shelter. Should make this thing work.
The floor's not open yet, ma'am. I'll call for citizens' comments in a minute. Yes, and I'll get you in just a second. You guys through?
I'm done.
Okay, now you can come.
it's a meeting.
5-minute limit.
What's your name, ma'am? Where you
I'm
from?
Ann Fontaine. I'm Vice President of
Now,
the
are
Friends of the Animal
Do you live in
Shelter.
the city?
We are a group, as you folks know,
Do you live in the city?
I live in the county. We gave that building to the city. There was nothing said.
You said you gave that building to the city?
I said, no, I guess that's correct. We leased that building to the city for one penny a year, so that's giving it to them for an animal shelter. By no means did we say that we were going to be doing more in the way of offering money to run this shelter. It was supposed to be that the city paid the salaries, the management, the expenses, and actually, we have done a lot more than what we should have. We put tens of thousands of dollars into medicines, cages, fences, you name it, vans, everything that we could do. We're a small group. We're a small group of little old ladies, and we're doing the best we can. And we agree completely that the city needs to do their share. And I have gone to the city myself at their budget committee.
To the county?
Excuse me, the county. I'm sorry. I went to their meeting last year, and there was just no response whatsoever. We even had a lot of signatures they didn't even want to look at. Now, I agree that we did go to the lawyer because he said that we cannot have that shelter operating with no lease. Because for one thing, we don't have insurance in case there'd be an accident or somebody get bit or something. So we have to have a lease, and that's the reason for the letter. And I would like it if the city and the county and the Friends could all get together and have a meeting.
Amen, sister.
I'm sorry?
Amen.
Okay. Because there's no way that we can make up the difference in the cut that you folks have made. Our little group would have to come up with $1,400 a month to make this run. We don't want to close the shelter, but what choice do we have? And do you really want the city and the county to have no animal shelter? Do you want this to be so that there's dogs roaming the street, that there's rabies being spread? Do you want that people bringing puppies and kittens and putting them in a box by the dumpsters? Do you want no place for people to come and adopt an animal?
Amen.
We've got to have this, and we will be glad to work with you any way we can. As far as if there's a way we can cut the budget, fine. We're willing to work with you. We want an animal shelter, but we don't see what option we have. We heard that you folks, broke the lease, and so we felt like we had to go to a lawyer, and he said we have to have a lease of some kind. with you and the county. This would be a very bad situation if our city, and what would you do with the animal control animals you want to bring in? Please work with us. We're not mean people. We don't get this money for ourselves. We just want to save animals.
I'd make the same plea to you, ma'am, work with us.
Of course. Of course we will.
There's two agreeable parties. Let's go across the railroad tracks and get somebody else to be a third of the
I agree completely.
triangle.
And we've been aware for some time that 75% of the animals come from the county. And I don't know whether we can stop having their animals come in to the shelter, stop having people drop off animals from the county, but do we want them just running the road? I mean, I don't know.
I wouldn't, but thank you, man.
I admire you for what y'all do, your group. No matter how this thing turns out, I admire y'all for fighting for what you think's right. We're trying to do the same thing for the city as you're doing. And if everybody can be accountable, you know, this thing, get told one thing about somebody turning the money in. We've not got any record of turning the money in about the road and rescue stuff. But anyway, I just, there's some things that's not jiving.
You know, you can trust me, none of us have ever taken any of the funds.
Nobody's saying nobody's funds.
I mean, anything that we have gotten in has gone back into the shelters.
Right, I admire you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Any citizens' comments? Yes.
When you approach the county, do they give you any kind of response, or do they just completely ignore the whole situation?
They'll give you a response, but then, you know, it's like, it has been reported by one of our social media sites that they said, absolutely not, they're not giving us a penny. Well, I was called the next day by the mayor and said, look, we want to try to help, we just don't have any money. This jail thing is putting a big time burden on them, and I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't, but you know, I heard last night a glimpse of, folks, we want to help. We'd like to kind of be a community participant here, but we don't know where we're going to find the money. That's the bottom line. And last night I got more response than I did the first time, as far as being conversation going on between 3 or 4 people. But yeah, you look in their eyes and you can tell they don't have money to play with, to spend on anything, even though they feel like it's the fair thing to do.
Any other comments?
I'd like to ask Mr. Herbst, is it legal for the city to break any kind of contract they make with people? I mean, does that not show the city is not very responsible or very admirable in keeping their word? I'm not from this area originally. I admire Newport. I have loved living in it. Well, not in the city. I'm out in the county. But I have been in business before, and it seems to me that is not proper and certainly does not go well with representation. Am I off balance here or something? What is it? What do you think? I mean, is it legal to just drop any contract?
Well, the problem with the lease with the animal shelter was it was a one-sided lease, only entirely in the animal shelter's favor. The city had little or no input. They were at their mercy. The city, as a public institution, had, in my opinion, had the right to get out of that lease. But of course, the fact of the matter is, even though they voted to terminate the lease, they still honored it.
And I think that's the bottom line. It seems to be getting lost in all this.
Yeah,
we opted out of the lease agreement, but nothing changed. You know, that in a meeting I had with the officers of the Humane Society a couple of weeks back, you know, they talked about that, you know, they were going to sue us for breaking the lease. And I said, sue us for what? Nothing changed. We're still operating it on a daily basis. It's totally unchanged. Nothing got dropped. Nothing stopped. No service was no longer rendered. We're still meeting every obligation that we pretty much had under the lease. So what are we not doing? How did we lose honor? Because what are we no longer doing?
You're cutting their funds. You have made an agreement of a certain amount to support them, and you're cutting it.
Well,
That changes every year.
The lease itself says that the finances are based on a year-to-year basis, if you'll read the lease.
I haven't.
Well, and that's, see, a lot of people are uninformed, and that's the problem. They jump to conclusions when they're uninformed.
Well,
And so,
why don't you let the people, you do something as a city, you let the people know what's going on. I mean, people in the city of Newport and the county residents are not dummies. We care about our animals, we care about our communities, we care about doing the right thing I'm not sure which one said the right thing a while ago. Was it Mr. Hanson or Mr. I don't know. You were talking about doing the right thing.
The lady in the back, you have a comment?
I do. I have a couple of them. Firstly, if it's about the money,
I've kind of let this meeting get a little way. Come to the mic. I should have done that, and state your name so it can be recorded.
My name is Nina Holcomb. If it's about the money, why don't they do something nice and simple? Put it out there, just like they stand there for the ROTC or the cheerleading or the basketball team with those silly buckets. They could collect the money to fix that roof. But secondly, if the money is not there for whatever reason, there are all kinds of places that they could get it. For one, if they'd stop running businesses out of here, like the Ford dealer that left. But if the money, if it's just only about the money to put a roof on this thing, then why don't we just come together? Because I don't think most people are so heartless that they don't care about their animals or that poor little dog or cat that's been left by the side of the road. Most people like animals of some sort, and most people would be willing to just dig in their pocket for a couple dollars worth of change to put $100,000 into a roof or whatever it might be. It wouldn't take very long, especially not if they knew it was such an urgent need. I didn't know anything about this until my husband got a little flyer stuck on his windshield at Food City that said, y'all are going to be euthanizing animals in 3 days.
That's
well, goodness.
Ludicrous.
It just sounds terribly heartless, and I don't know how true that is, because like I said, I don't know about this issue. But if it's just about a roof, why don't we just put...
They put those flyers out at Walmart. Walmart called and complained about them being up there.
I don't know who did it, but what I know is...
That's what I'm saying. We don't know.
The Friends of the Animal Shelter is my understanding. They were up there putting them out. Walmart called and complained about it. Said it's some ladies in black T-shirts up there putting them on the cars.
So if it's just about fixing the roof or about getting those funds, we have all kinds of collections that they make all the time.
Well, ma'am, we have asked, just to answer your points, on multiple occasions, we've asked, and that is a function of the Humane Society, to raise funds. And that we have repeatedly suggested that they have a roadblock, and they have opted not to do that. And that goes back to the core of the problem again. You know, we can't just keep letting taxpayer dollars fund everything when it just keeps going up and up and up and up in the cost. The Humane Society has a level of obligation to help fund this operation, and they are the ones that can do these fundraising projects. The city of Newport can't go down here and stand with a bucket in the street and ask taxpayers to put more money in the bucket. They're putting a lot of money in the bucket already.
For everything.
And so that is a function of the support system, which is the Humane Society, which is the Friends of the Animal Shelter. I agree with you 100%. I've begged them to go have roadblocks. They've chosen not to.
Is there another answer to that, though? Is there something else that they could do to raise
There's lots of things they could do.
Raise the awareness of the urgency of this matter?
There's lots of things they could do, but they choose not to. They choose to demand that the city council put taxpayer dollars in.
But is it only just the Humane Society that is responsible for gathering these funds?
Well, anybody can that wants to help, but it's but they own the property. They are the Humane Society. If you go and look at the surrounding areas, which we have done, that is the function that the Humane Society provides in those areas. And in fact, in those areas, in the majority of the towns around, you're welcome to check yourself, those shelters are run by the Humane Society. They are not run by the cities. You will not find a city anywhere in this area that runs an animal shelter.
Do you know why ours is not working well?
Well, I've got an opinion, but I can't say I know why.
I mean, other than, like you said, there were a lot of chiefs and not enough Indians, everybody wants.
Well, I'm new to this, when Dr. Hood was in charge, I was living in North Carolina at the time. I never, had any input, or I was in North Carolina, but never heard of anything in the plain talk or radio or whatever of problems at the animal shelter. And I think that when the unfortunate and untimely death of Dr. Hood, the leader died that day. And there's not been anybody to replace that leader. We've got to find that leader.
Are they going to euthanize the animals after 3 days, like that little paper was saying?
We have had no intention of doing that.
Okay, so that was just a scare tactic?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up for me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you for standing
Yeah, about a minute to respond.
Okay.
Go ahead.
One thing, we do roadblocks. We do them as often as we know that there's going to be a lot of tourists coming through, and as long as I can get 6 people to stand out in the street for an hour and a half, we do that. That is number one. However, no matter how many roadblocks we have, we're not going to come up with $14,000 a month, which is what we'll need with your budget cut. And secondly, what the paper said was that animals that are brought in by animal control only need to be held for 3 days. Now, that's what we've been told.
That is the law, but we have never done that.
But you'll have...
That is the law, but that has never been done.
But won't you
never done that.
won't you have to do that if the animals keep coming in and you don't have a shelter? Aren't you going to have to do that?
Well, you have a capacity, regardless of how, it don't matter if the shelter's as big as the tobacco warehouse. You have a capacity, and you have to maintain that capacity, so it depends on the capacity.
That's right, and if you don't have the shelter open for people to come in and adopt animals, then you're going to be euthanizing them after 3 days because you won't have any more room.
That's not true.
And that's a fact.
That's not true. That's an opinion, and that's not a fact. That's ridiculous.
Do we have a motion to adjourn? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed is no.
No.
Got one.